Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pashtaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pachaline Nivasisha Sunyavadi Vashtatara Satarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Hari Ram, Ram Ram, Hari. 1 second, just get my microphone. It's good, this mic. I don't have to strain my voice so much. It picks up quite well. So, okay. All right, so let's bring it up on the screen for everyone to see. Share screen. I got it ready before. Hare Krishna. So here we are. This is what we read last week up to text 158. And let's just read 158 again, just as a reminder where we left off, where we paused last week. Not many of us yet. Any readers out there? Mother Sahachari or Mother Mohini, or you like to read the first few verses?
Mute. Sahachari, Mataji, or...
Yeah, go ahead. There's someone's voice.
Yeah, so is it text 158?
Yeah, we'll go from 158. That's where we left off last week, but we'll just have a little tiny recap on just that, on this one verse.
Can I skip the Sanskrit?
Yeah. With this one, we're skipping Sanskrit. You can just do English translation.
Okay. So those who yearn for something understand the good luck of those who have it. So the gopis sing of the extreme good fortune. I don't have the book, Prabhuji, so you can have it.
Yeah, it's a bit slowed in.
It's okay. Good fortune of Mukunda's flute, because they too are greedy to drink the nectar of his lips. Commentary. Here Narada mentions that the gopis admired Krishna's flute because it had what they wanted. Dear gopis, they said, what auspicious activities must the flute have performed to enjoy the nectar of Krishna's lips independently and leave only a taste for us gopis, for whom that nectar is actually meant. The forefathers of the flute, the bamboo trees, shed tears of pleasure. His mother, the river on whose bank the bamboo was born, feels jubilation, and therefore her blooming lotus flowers are standing like hairs on her body. Bhagavatam 10.
Yeah,
Bhagavatam
this is as a reminder, this is the chapter called Venu Gita. Okay.
Yeah.
You see, the gopis are possessed, they're bewitched by Krishna. They're completely absorbed and possessed by him. Krishna's captured their hearts, so they're having this wonderful conversation. Yeah.
Text 159. Krishna is always so profoundly attached to his dearmost companions for their overwhelming love that he doesn't even care to notice his eldest son, Brahma, offering prayers to him and bowing down. Commentary. In Vrindavan, Krishna gives himself entirely to his dear friends and family. So when great demigods and sages come to visit, he hardly pays them any attention. After Brahma was defeated in his attempt to steal the boys and calves and humbly approached Krishna to beg forgiveness, Krishna wasn't even interested in looking at him. What to speak of acknowledging his eloquent prayers or starting a conversation with him. Later, after Indra tried to destroy Vrindavan and then came with Shurabi cow to apologize, Krishna chose to speak to him, but only because Indra was terrified of losing his heavenly post. Another reason Krishna agreed to pay attention to Indra is that Krishna was pleased with being anointed Lord of the cows and given 2 new names, Govinda and Upendra. Krishna was further pleased because Shurabi, the ancestor of all cows, accompanied Indra because the great devotee Shurabi requested Krishna to forgive the penitent demigods' offenses. Krishna dealt kindly with Indra.
Yeah, this is interesting, because if you think of what Indra tried to do, basically he tried to kill
Mm.
the residents of Vrindavan and destroy Vrindavan.
Wow.
In comparison to Lord Brahma, who just wanted to see the so-called mystic power of this young Gopa.
Yeah.
So, and here's the reason, and it's like Brahma, he didn't speak here described. He wasn't even interested in looking at Brahma.
Mm. But why did Indra want to destroy Vrindavan?
No,
just envy?
Brahma did. No,
Brahma, sorry, Brahma, yes.
excuse me. No, sorry, no, it was Indra wanted to destroy Vrindavan.
But Brahma was apologetic for what he did. But Indra, why did he want to destroy Vrindavan?
Well,
Was he
that's the
jealous?
whole story of Govardhan Hill, lifting Govardhan Hill, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, because of the yeah.
yeah, Krishna stopped the yagna
Yes,
for
yes.
Indra, and the Indra was bewildered
Why?
and became incensed, and he wanted to teach everyone a lesson in Vraj. Wanted to destroy Vraj and everyone in Vrindavan. But here, Lord Indra gets better treatment than Lord Brahma, and here's the reasons why. Because Krishna paid attention to Indra, is that Krishna was pleased with being anointed Lord of the Cows and given two new names, Govinda and Upendra. Krishna was further pleased because Surabhi, the ancestor of all the cows, accompanied Indra. We spoke about that just yesterday, wasn't it, or the day before? He spoke. He bought Surabhi, so he got some attention from Krishna, whereas Brahma didn't. Yeah, interesting. Okay.
Also,
Right.
didn't we speak that Indra at least got all the residents of Vrindavan all under one roof for 7 days?
Yeah.
That Brahma took Krishna
Yeah.
away.
Yeah, very good point as well. It's a great festive occasion. Everyone had gathered and they could take darshan of Krishna 24/7 for like 7 days. So that no doubt Krishna and no doubt please all the residents of Vrindavan. Yeah, it's good.
Did Krishna a favor?
Yeah, so in that way, Krishna had a little bit of a, he was a little quite merciful to Indra. Yeah. All right, let's read text 160. Carry on reading, Robert.
Could you just turn the...
It is. It just takes.
Oh, yes, sorry, yes. Okay. Here we go. Yeah. Not even for a moment is Krishna keen to talk with persons like me, whose only goal in life is his lotus feet. Indeed, that romantic hero of the cowherds is enchanted by some forest dwellers who know all sorts of herbs and mantras. Commentary. Krishna might not care much about demigods with official status like Brahma, but what about Narada, who is a simple devotee with no material position? Narada has no shelter other than Krishna, yet he laments that Krishna is too busy with Vrajvasis even to say hello to him. What to speak of offering the proper greetings for a respectable sage? Narada's jealousy impels him to suspect that Vrajvasis are controlling Krishna with herbs and mantras. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, of course, can never succumb to such material influences, but Narada, in his ecstasy, thinks like that. The only power that can subdue Krishna is the Vrajvasi's pure love. Another indication of Narada's jealousy is his ironically speaking of Krishna as Gosta Nagara, the romantic hero of the cowherd village. This name also implies that although Krishna is very clever, the Vrajvasis are even more clever since they have him under their control. Text.
Yeah, so this jealousy, it's not it's not vindictive. It's not vindictive like we might hear the word envy. But he's in an ecstasy here. So he's feeling ecstatic, and in his ecstasy, he's appreciating the mercy of the other devotees. Here it's the residents of Vrindavan. So yeah, so he's expressing his unfortune compared to the residents of Vrindavan. But he doesn't wish them ill. He doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't wish them ill. He is not envious. At least I don't. This is not. Yeah. Just to make that point, because it might think that the word jealousy is used.
Shall I carry on?
Yeah, go on. Yeah.
Text 161. Who can describe the Vrajavasis' attachment to Krishna? In their pure love, they know him only as a young son of Nandagopa, and though fully blessed with that love, they spend all their time in great distress. Commentary. The previous verses have described Krishna's affection for the Vrajavasis, and now we hear about their attachment to him. The residents of Vraj are the greatest Vaishnavas because I can't see it.
Yeah, I've changed it.
Sorry. Oh, yes, sorry. They are motivated only by absolutely pure love, undiluted by reverence. Such intense love shows unique symptoms that to untrained eyes appear to be signs of unhappiness. This has already been discussed in previous chapters of Brhad Bhagavatamrta, and later it will be analyzed even more explicitly. Text 162. The residents of Vraj have transcended time. For those of us blessed with the opulence of wisdom, their feet are deserving of worship in every way. Even the Yadavas here, who know the unexcelled flood of ecstasy of Vaikuntha, worship those residents of Vraj. Commentary. It would be wrong to think that the Vrajvasis consider Krishna one of their own because they are ignorant of his
Position is God. Yeah.
Ignorant of his absolute position as God. The devotees of Vraja are not ignorant, nor do they ever suffer or waste time. They act as they do only because of their pure prema, for which the exalted Vaishnavas of Dwarka, including Uddhava, hold them in the highest regard.
Yeah, sorry, can I just backtrack on that? I don't think I was. It would be wrong to think that the Vrajavasis consider Krishna one of their own because they are ignorant of his absolute position of God. The devotees of Vraj are not ignorant, nor do they suffer or waste time. They act only as they do, only because of their prema, for which the exalted Vaishnavas of Dwarka. So, isn't it we have the understanding from one perspective that the residents of Vrindavan, they're covered by Yoga Maya. So, but sometimes Krishna wonderful godlike ways, but they, because of their intimate loving affection for Krishna, they do not see him as God. But here it seems to be saying something different. One of their own, because they are ignorant of his, seems so saying they're not in ignorance of his position. I think it's, perhaps we read on. I think is the because they're so overwhelmed with the sweetness of Krishna and his loving exchanges, his exhibitions or his possibilities of being God weighs into insignificance in how sweet he is and how beautiful he is and their wonderful loving pastimes, that it becomes an insignificant affair.
Don't they
It's like, yeah, some say he's gone.
Okay.
Right?
Doesn't it in Krishna book, like Vrajavasis always, because he kills demons at such a young age and how he's saved, and they think he's special. They often tell Nanda Baba that, oh, he's Vishnu, or like that sometimes.
Yeah, there's discussions, but I think the conclusion is that he will be just like Vishnu.
Yeah.
He will be just like, it means like he's not Vishnu, but he
No,
will exhibit
yeah.
like the potencies of Vishnu.
Yeah. Because otherwise, how could he do that? You know, that wind
Yeah.
demon go all the way up and down and
Mm.
think-
like a baby and break the cart.
Yeah, I think it was after Govardhan Leela that they got together. They had an Istagosti and they spoke to Nanda Maharaj,
Mm.
and Nanda Maharaj explained about the name giving ceremony and how he was named, that he will be just like Vishnu and he would be the protector.
Yeah.
Perhaps let's read on, see if yeah.
Somebody else want to read, or shall I carry on?
Any other readers out there? Mother Sahachari has a hand. You can
Yeah.
read Mother Sahachari from
Okay.
163.
163. The people of Vraj are not bewildered by Krishna. The truth is that he is bewildered by them. When he forgot what he has to do for the demigods, I had to go to him myself and somehow remind him, oh, you have some unfinished business. Commentary. After Krishna killed the demon Keshi, Narada Muni went to Vrindavan and convinced Krishna that he had to leave for
Yeah, it takes about 10 seconds to load. That's 12 seconds. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
leave for Mathura to
Hare
slay
Ram,
Kamsa
Ram.
and other enemies of his devotees. With clever praise and arguments, Narada reminded Krishna that Krishna had promised the demigods led by Brahma to rid the earth of its burden of demonic kings.
All
By
right, so
the
Krishna,
Creator,
do that. Yeah, go on.
you, the Creator, have now descended to earth to annihilate the Daitya, Pramatha and Rakshasa demons who are posing as kings, and also to protect the godly. In just 2 days, O mighty Lord, I will see the death of Chanura, Mushtika, and other wrestlers, and of the elephant Kuvalaya Pada and King Kamsa, all by your hand. Bhagavatam 10:37, 13:15. Text 164. Somehow or other, the wise Akrura, desiring to promote the welfare of the Yadus, took him from Vraj to Madhupuri as if by force. Commentary. By telling Krishna about the suffering of his parents, Vasudeva and Devaki, Akrura convinced him to come to Mathura. Your elderly parents have now become dependent servants, and because of you, they are being harassed by evil-minded Kamsa.
Okay, I'll change the page. I think there's a lot of people online. I was coming back from the temple and everyone in the pubs were roaring because I was watching football.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
Text 165.
Great. We've been saved from that mundane. Great. Can we?
Yeah. Krishna can never abandon the people of Vraj. He surely returns there again and again to decide and enjoy his pastimes. Commentary. In his eternal pastimes, Krishna again and again goes to Mathura to help the Yadus and again returns home to Vrindavan. And when he comes back to Vrindavan, he resumes his Vrindavan pastimes with the word Dhruvam. Certainly. Narada assures Gopakumara that there is no reason to doubt these words.
Okay, so
Text
here, although it's more understood now by devotees, but if one reads Krishna book, then one would not, the conclusion that one would come to is that Krishna doesn't go back to Vrindavan. Yeah, it isn't mentioned there in the Krishna book. But on further reading of Krishna's pastimes, there are evidences and leelas of he is returning, and he does return to Vrindavan. One of them is the prayers of the queens of Dwarka, where they pray along the lines of, oh, our Lord, when you return to Vrindavan, and they're feeling separation. So here's another one. Yeah, here's this is by Sanat Goswami. Remember the commentary here again, you know. In his eternal pastime, Krishna again and again goes to Mathura to help the Yadus, and again returns home to Vrindavan. Yeah. And there's a wonderful book written by His Holiness Shivaram Swami called, what's that? Sangita. What's that book called? Got it here.
Krishna Sangati.
Yeah, Krishna Sangati. Thank you, Mo. Yeah. So if you want to read that, it's quite heartbreaking. Krishna's coming and going. It describes very, very wonderfully. But anyway, so here it's quite clear that Krishna does go back to Vrindavan. Yeah. During his pastimes of killing demons, then he returns. Yeah.
But then how do we understand that Krishna never leaves Vrindavan? Remember
Because-
that when Akura came to take them, then they get
Yeah.
Akura guts and, you know, right, you know, the pastime. So then Krishna goes back, the original Krishna goes back, and Dwarka Krishna goes on to Dwarka.
Yeah, that's it. You got it. I think that's it. There's the Vishnu, or the Dwarka Krishna, would say, whereas Krishna manifests the potencies of Vishnu in killing demons. But he's there in Vrindavan even when he seems to be
Not there.
not there. Yeah, he's manifested in the heart and the minds of all the Rajrashis, and even and Krishna manifests himself to the presence of Vrindavan, but often they feel like it's a dream. So they become so absorbed that wherever Krishna is there or not, whether it's dreaming or not, all becomes one for them. In the sense, their dreaming becomes real. It becomes as real as Krishna's presence, and Krishna's absence becomes as real as his presence. They're so absorbed in him, and Krishna cannot leave their intense meditation. So in that sense, he actually never leaves Vrindavan. He can't, because he's so bound by love for the residents of Vrindavan. But it's, you know, who's to fathom these pastimes? Then Krishna, at least from the external point of view, seems to leave Raj and kills demons. But he's actually there in Vrindavan.
Because actually, like Yashoda
Right.
had, sorry,
Carry on.
and Subhadra, boy and a girl. And then when Vasudeva brings the Krishna that was born to Devaki, he brings him to Gokul, and then that Krishna merges with Yashoda's Krishna.
Yeah, that's another interesting
Then
deep
they,
his Janma. Yeah.
yeah, that's, yeah. So then that Krishna goes to Mathura.
Yeah.
It's quite a lot to.
Yeah.
Krishna.
Krishna. All right. You can read on Mother Side Chariot.
Okay, text 166. But Krishna is most curious to see how the devotees of Vraj respond to the waves of ecstasy born of separation. Indeed, seeing this gives him great pleasure. So just as he sometimes hides in a cave in the forest groves, on some pretext, he sometimes goes away from Vraj while playing in his various pastimes. Commentary. If Krishna never abandons the Vrajvasis, how is it they experience separation from him? The answer is that although Krishna is always with them, he sometimes hides from them for a while just to see the extreme ecstasies found only in separation. He does this to increase both their pleasure and his own.
Yeah, change the page. You have to wait for it to load. Krishna.
Yeah, 167. This way of acting, I think, just befits the most generous, the most magnanimous person, for he presents to his dearmost friends the most desirable object, the most rarely obtained. Commentary. No one should criticize Krishna for his behavior with the devotees of Vrindavan, who cannot tolerate his absence even for a fraction of a second. Here Narada says he has no such complaint against Krishna, although some persons may Narada's understanding that Krishna's leaving is actually his way of giving the Vrajavasis the most rare treasure of Vipralamba Bhav. No one else in creation is worthy of that gift. So the Vrajavasis are greatly distinguished to be its recipients. Thus, in Srimad Bhagavatam 10:47-27, Uddhava told Krishna's girlfriends, "You have rightfully claimed the privilege of unalloyed love for the transcendental Lord, O most glorious gopis. Indeed, by exhibiting your love for Krishna in separation from him, you have showed me great mercy. Although Krishna is the transcendental Godhead, Adokshija, imperceptible to the material senses, the gopis of Vraj have conquered him by their exclusive devotion. Thus, in no way can he ever abandon them. Uddhava recognized the gopis to be the most fortunate and generous souls who left the pangs of imminent separation from Krishna even while enjoying with him face to face. Text 168. Just as Krishna plays in this Vrajabhumi on earth, so also does he play on Goloka. The two realms are only imagined to be different, one above the other. Commentary. The whole purpose of this disclosure has to be enlightened Gopakumara about the glories of Sri Goloka, the topmost spiritual world. What Narada has said about Goloka on earth is also true of the original Goloka. The difference between the two is slight. Although one is located on a planet in the middle of the material universe and the other is above Vaikuntha.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram.
There is no substantial difference between them. Text 169. But in this earthly Vrajabhumi, not everyone can see him all the time, even though he forever enjoys in the company of Sri Nanda and others. Commentary. Only once in a day of Brahma, at the end of certain Dwapara Yuga, can everyone see Krishna in Gokula. At other times, he is visible only occasionally and only to a few in Goloka. However, everyone can see him all the time. Text 170. Just as in Vaikuntha, devotees like Sri Garuda and the Lord's eternal associates in Goloka, the devotees of Vraj, we understand, are his eternal dear companions. Commentary. Nanda Maharaj and the other Vrajavasis live with Krishna not only on earth but also in the eternal kingdom of Goloka. Text 171. They enjoy pastimes with the Lord of their lives, the personality
of Godhead in the same, you just tell me when it comes up, and I kiss it, of Godhead in the same way in both worlds, Vrajabhumi on earth and Goloka in the spiritual realm, according to their pleasure. Text 172. The disciples by, is it up yet? The disciples by which devotees in practice, the disciplines by which devotees in practice can reach Sri Goloka, those very same disciplines let them see the Lord performing pastimes like those of Goloka, completely satisfied in Vrajabhumi in the mortal world. Okay, so everything becomes revealed to the sadhaka. Commentary. To search out his Lord, Gopakumar need not go down to Gokula on earth. But he does need to learn the sadhana. But he does need to learn the sadhana, the special practices for attaining Krishna's abode. All right, so he's hearing about Goloka. But to go to Goloka, he has to come to Gokula, the earthly realm. for special practices for attaining Krishna's personal abode. For intimate associates like Nanda Maharaj, no spiritual practice is needed, because they are eternal Rajrasis. But for everyone else, careful endeavor is required. Yeah, so they're Nityasiddha, so they're already perfect. They always was perfect, and they always will be perfect. On this path, not everyone.
Check something with you.
Yeah, please.
That's why when a devotee is ready to go back home, he still has to spend time in here to be trained somewhere, right? Before they go
Yeah,
back.
that's as we understand it. Yeah, so then if we reach a level of bhava here, the seat of love, then the prema will
Bhava,
fully
not
manifest.
prema, right? Bhava.
Well, bhava from the perspective that bhava is a ray of prema.
Yeah.
So when it comes very, very strong, then prema can only fully develop in a spiritual or in dissociation of the eternal associates. So one will take a birth in the gopi's womb, another birth, and then will associate with,
in this place, right?
Yeah, in the material world, but because Krishna's there and his pastimes are there, as we just heard, there is very little difference. Everything that's there is here. So in one sense, it's not as if they're missing out on anything at all. Then they take birth in Vrindavan, which is Braj manifest, which is coming down from Gokula, Goloka, and it comes down to Gokula on earth. So they get the but that's the place where they learn the moods of loving affection and exchange and service, and how to intimately serve according to their specific relationship with Krishna.
Yeah, I wanted to check that. So in their specific relationship, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's interesting. But they're completely absorbed in that. Yeah. It's not as if they're conscious soul. Now, oh great, now I've appeared in the place where Krishna's. They're fully absorbed in even if it may be a kind of not so intimate in the beginning, they're associating with the servants of the Lord and learning the ways of love. It's not as if they're aware, at least to my knowledge, it's not as if they're aware that they was in a last birth, they was practicing in England and they left in the East Surrey hospital chanting the holy name, and before they was housewife with kids and things like that, and now I'm here. No, they're completely absorbed, just like we can't remember our past lives. So anyway, it's inconceivable subject. Hare Krishna. Right, sorry, I jumped in reading there, Navasacharya. I was just reading waiting for the page to load. If you like, you can continue.
It's okay. Yeah. On this path, not everyone attains the same level of success. A devotee may develop Krishna consciousness to the point of being able to see Krishna, but may not be able to see him, busily enjoying the special pastimes of Vrindavan. Tadrik Kridam, with his intimate devotees. When more advanced, a Vaishnava may occasionally see Krishna engaging in his Vrindavan pastimes, but not displaying the full scope of his blissful enjoyment. Suprasannam. And even such a Vaishnava may not be fortunate enough to enter Krishna's eternal pastimes and play with Krishna in absolute freedom. The highest perfection of Krishna consciousness is rarely achieved. Text 173. My dear boy, how is it that you are so eager to take shelter of the lotus feet of this Gopaladev and see all those sweet pastimes?
Okay, I change the page, read until it comes up. Commentary. Now the Muni is perplexed by the thought that this simple boy, Gobakama, is intent on gaining the realization most rarely achieved. Dear brother, 174, you must understand that to attain him is exceedingly difficult, especially because of the devotional discipline required. Of this I am fully convinced. Commentary. Gobakama may argue that with the blessings of pure saints like Narada, nothing is impossible. But Narada warns him, so difficult is the goal that even Narada's mercy will not be of much help. By saying this, Narada hopes to increase Gobakama's eagerness to reach Goloka. I'll just read for a few minutes and make it a bit easier, 5 minutes or so. Okay. Most living entities have no ability to discern good from bad. Only a few human beings can ascertain the proper way to behave. Commentary. The vast majority of conditioned souls live in subhuman forms of life, in bodies of lower species like animal, bird, and insect. They have no higher intelligence with which to judge ethical values. Human beings normally have some concept of right and wrong, but only a few apply their understanding consistently in how they act. Yeah, so there's going to be often this is described in Bhagavatam in more than one place, where it starts off from the lowest common denominator, then gradually builds up to different levels of piety, different levels of attainment. Anyway, we read. Among them, most are seen devoted to wealth and enjoyment. Only a very few are serious about religious life for entering into heaven, okay, the heavenly planets. Most people who regulate the way they act are driven by desires for wealth, power, and sense gratification, not by true respect for religion, Dharma. Of the few who follow Dharma, most do so merely for the sake of public esteem, and even fewer desire elevation to Swargaloka. 117. Of those candidates for heaven, only a few are intent upon working without selfish desire, and among them fewer still want liberation. Commentary. Although it is true that the process of nishkam karma, so it's working without attachment to the fruits of work, we're discussing that in our Bhagavad Gita, Bhakti Sastri, this Sunday, of nishkam karma yoga. Working without attachment to the fruits of work encourages the spirit of renunciation. Just how effectively it does so varies among individuals. Only a few nishkam karma yogis are renounced in their hearts and therefore eager for liberation. 178. Of the aspirants for liberation, hardly a few are transcendental, liberated souls. And of those exalted transcendentalists, only a few are dedicated to the devotional service of the Lord. Commentary. Persons firmly fixed in the practice of yoga are called hamsas, and those who have actually realized the self are called paramahamsas. Paramahamsas are liberated, but even most of them are still enjoying the remnants of their accumulated karma. Among all paramahamsas, only a few are completely perfect, and of those perfected beings, fewer still have no desire other than the selfless devotional service of the personality of Godhead. Those most rare persons have the sharpest intelligence and the gravest purpose. By the grace of the Supreme Lord, they understand how insignificant liberation is. They are called Mahashayas, wise souls, by virtue of their unbound and unalloyed enthusiasm for Bhakti Rasa. Okay. As Parikshit Maharaj told Sukadev Goswami in the 6th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, quote, in this material world, there are many living entities as atoms. Among these living entities, a few are human beings, and among them few are interested in following religious principles. O best of Brahmanas, Sukadeva Goswami, out of many persons who follow religious principles, only a few desire liberation from the material world. And among many thousands who desire liberation, one may actually achieve liberation, giving up material attachment to society, friendship, love, country, home, wife, and children. And among many thousands of such liberated persons, one who can understand the true meaning of liberation is very rare. And finally, quote, O great sage, among many millions who are liberated and perfect in knowledge of liberation, one may be a devotee of Lord Narayan or Krishna. Such devotees who are fully peaceful are extremely rare. To call the Vaishnavas Prashant Atma, persons of peaceful mind, is an understatement, because the satisfaction of Krishna consciousness reaches far beyond ordinary ideas of peace. Okay, so this is quoting from the 6th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, and this is they're speaking about the great demon stroke devotee Vritasura. You know that wonderful person Vritasura, where Indra kills Vritasura, and Vritasura is Maharaj Chittaketu. He was Maharaj Chittaketu in a previous life, and you know he was cursed, so he took birth as a demon. So externally, he didn't look very saintly externally, and he wasn't acting very saintly as well. He was acting as a demon. But actually, as the pastime unfolds and the way he speaks to Indra, it becomes obvious that he is a great devotee. So then they start. Then these verses explain how rare it is to be a devotee of the Lord. Sorry.
I was thinking, in Bhagavad Gita it says, out of millions and millions who try, only one would succeed or something.
Yeah, that's Bahonam Janaman Ante. Yeah.
Yeah. I was just thinking of that with this, that it's not just Krishna conscious devotees, all classes of devotees. There are many will try different positions, different angles, but only some can make it when they become Krishna conscious and go forward.
Yeah, but we should be encouraged, because that verse, Bahonam Janaman Ante Gani Mamavam, was it Bahonam Janaman Ante Ganavan Mampapachate Vasudev Samatmahiti Sa Mahatma Sudula. So such great souls are very rare. So all devotees are very rare. Those who have taken to Krishna consciousness are very rare souls. Yeah. So everyone here is a very rare soul.
Yeah.
So Bahonam, after many births and deaths, let's say, we have finally taken to the process of Krishna consciousness. So some encouragement there is that somehow or another, but still we have a path to tread. We have our ways to go forward. But still, one path of pure devotional service, by the grace of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we are meditating upon Radha and Krishna. Yeah, so that's just very, very rare.
Yeah, and in purpose, Prabhupada always says this is the straightforward path, Bhakti Yoga. You can take the other path, which takes you a long way, and you'll get there actually, but this is the devotional service.
Yeah. So because the Vritasura demon, and you think of the demigods or Indra and things like that, it's not as if Vritasura had many associates who were devotees. He was basically on his own. The same with, in the heavenly planets, most of them are material, they're devotees, but they're devotees with material desires. And the point I'm trying to make here is that we are in the association of devotees on the path of pure devotional service. So sometimes we may not appreciate, or we may forget how wonderful that is, and we kind of take it for granted, or we take each other for granted. But actually, it's very rare to get the association of devotees. And sometimes it gets to such an extent that we feel it's too much. Some people want to break from devotees in one sense, you know. So yeah, we're very fortunate to be in a society of pure-hearted Vaishnavas, at least aspiring for being pure-hearted. It's very, very extremely fortunate. Extremely fortunate. That's the grace of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And would someone else like to pick up from here? Let's see how Sanat Goswami unfolds this. 179. I've got to just move the page.
I can read.
Yeah. You have the hard copy there, yeah?
Yeah. 179.
Great. Okay. So you
Does
can
anybody else want to read? Sorry.
go ahead. Read. Go ahead.
Text 179. And even among the Supreme Lord's devotees, those eager to give their hearts in exclusive friendship to the lotus feet of Sriman Madan Gopal are by far the most rare, without a doubt. Commentary. As mentioned above, Parikshit Maharaj also confirmed that among great souls, devotees of Krishna are the most rare. He therefore said,
There you go, Vichasura.
was situated in a blazing fire of battle and was an infamous sinful demon, always engaged in giving trouble and anxieties to others. How could such a demon become so greatly Krishna conscious? Bhagavatam 14:6, text 180. The method of discipline and the scriptural statements that teach them should be understood to differ according to the different goals to be achieved. Commentary. Because some goals of life are more popular than others, the disciplines the Vedic scriptures recommend for various ambitions vary in prominence. The Shastras teach more about economic development, somewhat less about sense gratification, still less about religiosity, less again about liberation, and the least about devotional service. For the artha and karma, there are numerous engagements of body, speech, and mind. For dharma, fewer practices involving charity, pilgrimages, proper behavior, and vows of austerity. And for liberation, only a few methods, such as Ashtanga Yoga. And still fewer and lesser known are the simple sadhanas of Bhakti Yoga, beginning with hearing and chanting.
Yeah, this was the existential crisis that Srila Vyasadeva had after compiling the Vedas, Mahabharata, etc. Because this is what he did. This is what he explained. It wasn't as if he didn't speak about Krishna or didn't speak about devotional service, but he could hardly find it. It's like looking for a needle in a haystack. To find it in the Vedas, to find the path of pure sadhana, of bhakti yoga, according to Anyabhalasta Sunyam. Difficult. And that's why and that's probably might be glorifying the Bhagavatam at some point. So that's how glorious the Bhagavatam is. Because there isn't anything else in the Bhagavatam. There isn't nothing else in the Bhagavatam that teaches anything else other than pure devotion. Yeah. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Thus, we can understand that pure devotional service, especially service given exclusively to the lotus feet of Sri Madan Gopal Dev, is difficult to achieve. And so too, therefore, is the spiritual realm of Gokul. It is
Of Goloka.
Goloka. It is obtainable only by unalloyed devotion to Madan Gopal. Text 181. Among some of the devotees of Sri Madan Gopal, there are further distinctions still, but I am unfit to describe them. Commentary. Here Narad hints at the super excellent devotion to Sri Madan Gopal found in the devotees whose service follow in the mood of the blessed gopis. Narad considered Uddhava more qualified than himself to talk about this most confidential topic.
Okay, so that just reminds us that the discussion is going on between Narada Muni, Uddhavaji, and Gopal. Remember? Now going back, now how Uddhava took Gopal back to his own house, and they're discussing. Do you remember that Gopal he met Lord Narayan, became with ecstasy upon seeing the Lord, that he went to pay obeisances and he couldn't get up. Then Uddhava ushered him to his feet and took him to a private place. And now, and the discussion's going on between them. Yeah, so just a reminder of where we are in the context of the conversation. We're being reminded now.
Yeah. Took him in the back of the house. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Text 182. Shri Gopkumar said, having spoken thus, Narad embraced Uddhava and begged him with great humility in a plaintive and prayerful voice, please tell us something about this.
All right, so Uddhava's going to continue now. Go on.
183. Uddhava, moved by pure love, bowed his head low again and again. He then said, at every instance, I offer my respects to the dust from the feet of the women of Nanda's Raj. Commentary. Uddhav knew exactly what Narad was referring to. With intense feeling, he bowed his head to the floor and then lifted his head and began to sing the glories of gopis. The word he speaks in this verse appears in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Text 184. For a moment, that servant of Hari appears agitated and greatly distressed. Placing between his teeth a blade of grass and taking hold of Narad's feet, he spoke again. Commentary. Uddhav expected that his touching Narad's feet would assure the success of his own prayers. Text 185. The gopis of Vrindavan have given up the association of husbands, sons, and other family members who are very difficult to give up and have forsaken the path of chastity to take shelter of the lotus feet of Mukunda, Krsna, which one should search for by Vedic knowledge. Oh, let me be fortunate enough to be one of the bushes, creepers, or herbs in Vrindavan, because the gopis trampled them and blessed them with the dust of the lotus feet. Commentary. This is the verse spoken by Uddhav in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 10:47-61. Uddhav will now explain this verse briefly and later more elaborately. Text 183. Then Uddhav, filled with all sorts of emotions of fully blossomed love, jumped up and continued to sing full of wonder.
Jumped up, he jumped up.
Yeah. Text 187. When Lord Sri Krishna was dancing with the gopis in the Ras Leela, the gopis were embraced by the arms of the Lord. This transcendental favor was never bestowed upon the goddess of fortune or other consorts in the spiritual world. Indeed, never was such a thing even imagined by the most beautiful girls in the heavenly planets, girls whose bodily luster and aroma resemble the beauty and fragrance of the lotus. And what to speak of worldly women who are very beautiful by mundane estimation. Commentary. This is another verse from the 47th chapter of the 10th canto, 10:47-60. In the next few verses, Narad will explain this verse. Uddhav cites these texts from Srimad Bhagavatam to give his words more authority.
Okay. Any questions or comments from anyone? Let's seeing who's here. We have Hare Krishna. Any curiosities or questions, please feel free. Otherwise, we'll keep reading the nectar, as they say.
I was just thinking how when Narad asked Uddhav to speak, how he like kind of paid obeisances before he even thought about like speaking anything in front of Narad. How the etiquette to learn these etiquettes by, by reading these shastras, instead of we go on to I know better than you.
Yeah, no, that's always that's repeated again and again in the Bhagavatam. Before Sukadeva Goswami starts speaking, he offers really deep, profound prayers. And whenever any of the unfolding conversations that happen in Bhagavatam, it's the same. Devotees speak out the great sense of humility, ecstasy mixed with great humility. Yeah.
Look to learn. Text 188. Then the great Narad, immersed in utter surprise, looked at me again in my distress and spoke to me with great respect. Commentary. After hearing from Uddhav, Narad could understand even better how difficult it would be for a less qualified person like himself to attend the prema of Gokul. He therefore felt somewhat discouraged.
Okay, perhaps a bit like us hearing this.
Yes, I was just thinking, but
So
that's already qualified anyway.
Yeah, so Uddhava, it seems like we are correct to say that Uddhava, in the sense of understanding rasa, is a somewhat more advanced than Narada. Could we say that? It seems like that.
Yeah.
Narada's got to a certain point. An obvious, the more suitable person will be Uddhava. Uddhava is a very dear. He's a relative of Krishna as well as a friend, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not good.
Yeah,
and Krishna sent him to Vrindavan to give the message, but more to see the ecstasy and the devotion of the residents of Vrindavan, because he hadn't seen that before. We mentioned before, he's used to, especially in Dwarka, there's many devotees of the Lord, greatly advanced devotees, greatly ecstatically advanced devotees, but nothing like whatever but when he goes to Vrindavan, he's not seen anything like it. The attachment that the residents of Vrindavan have for Krishna is he's never seen it before. And he becomes, he becomes profoundly humble. That's why he begs just to be a blade of grass, let alone when he meets the gopis. Then he sees the state of Radharani, and she's completely mad, speaking to the bumblebee. That's when she starts speaking to the bumblebee, when Uddhava approaches her and gives her news of Krishna. Yeah. I mean, the residents of Dwarka, they're all in ecstatic love, but they're not at the stage of Mahabhav, where they go for all external purposes. They're mad. The residents are mad. The residents of Vrindavan come to someone who doesn't know that they're mad. That their love is such to a high pitch, especially when they're feeling separation from Krishna. So Uddhava's had an insight into that. So he's going to start explaining now. Yeah. Oh.
It's 7. Shall we?
Let me just read this verse, 189. I'll read 2 more verses. She now had said, Uddhava is the very best among all the devotees of the personality of Godhead. because he is so much absorbed in glorifying the dust of the gopis' lotus feet. Indeed, to have the good fortune of being touched by a single particle of dust from those feet, he has prayed for birth as a blade of grass. 190. Rukmini is renowned as the dearest queen of Hari, but despite having abandoned the religious principles of an aristocratic maiden just to satisfy Lord Achyuta's desire, excuse me, and despite having once almost died of fear from a few of his joking words, okay, we know that pastime in Bhagavatam, 10th canto. He's
Yeah.
like, why have you married me? I am like this. How? You know, from his joking words, she cannot obtain the trace of the gopis' good fortune. All right, sorry to keep you another couple of minutes. I hope you don't mind. Let's read this commentary. In the previous verse, Narada commented on two of Uddhava's statements, text 183 and 185. At every instant, I offer my respects to the dust from the feet of the women of Nanda's Raj. And oh, let me be fortunate enough to be one of the bushes, creepers, and herbs in Vrindavan. Unquote. Now, in this verse and in the next, he comments on a statement made in text 187. Quote, this transcendental favor was never bestowed upon the goddess of fortune. The name Shri in that text, Nayam Sriyonga, can be understood to refer either to the consort of Lord Narayan or to Rukmini, Krishna's first queen in Dwarka. When Uddhava first spoke this verse during his visit to Gokula, Rukmini and Krishna were not yet married. But in the present context, because Uddhava is reciting this verse again in Dwarka of Vaikuntha, the name Shri may fittingly indicate Rukmini. Or perhaps when Uddhava first spoke this verse, he had the mystic foresight to know that Rukmini would be Krishna's wife. In any case, Mahalakshmi is Rukmini's expansion, so Lakshmi and Rukmini are non-different. Both of them, therefore, may be called Hari Priya. And because Srimati Rukmini is a greater devotee than Lakshmi, okay, greater than Lakshmi, that the gopis are much greater than Lakshmi is implied. Rukmini abandoned the standards of behavior acceptable for unmarried girls, just because Krishna wanted her to, ignoring the rule that an aristocratic girl should be offered in marriage by her father. She invited Krishna to kidnap her. Yeah, so she quite daring what she did. Normally the father would arrange the marriage, but she more or less told her father, forget it. And she arranged to be stolen by Krishna. And when Krishna once teased her, she almost died of fear that he was rejecting her. On that occasion, Lord Krishna has said, now you should definitely accept the more suitable husband, a first-class man of the royal order who can help you achieve everything you want, both in this life and the next. Okay, I'll just make one comment after this. So Rukmini's mind was overwhelmed with unhappiness, fear, and grief. Her bangle slipped from her hand, and her fan fell to the ground. In her bewilderment, she suddenly fainted. Her hair scattered all about as her body fell to the ground, like a plantain tree blown over by the wind. Right, just finish on this bit of a mundane comment. But in India, there's quite a bit of discussion about the traditional way that a daughter would accept the husband, as in compared to the daughter choosing the husband. We know we have these different cultures. That's generally how it's gone about in the West. So without going into details what the women have to do, but as we know, in India, it's different. But there's some discussion. There's a big discussion about it, about they call the marriage by which the girl chooses is a love marriage. And the other one, you probably know more than me. But sometimes they quote in their arguments for the abandonment in other words, that the daughter, she should choose a husband. and they quote Rukmini. They quote Rukmini as a proof. Just see, Rukmini, she didn't accept the husband that she didn't accept the husband that her father had arranged. She accepted Krishna. Anyway, let's not go down there. Hare Krishna. Let's stick with spiritual.
Bit of a rebel.
Sorry?
Who's
Bit-
Rukmini and who, what we are? What the other girls are?
Say again?
Who is Rukmini?
Yeah, who's Rukmini and who's Krishna? So she did the right thing. So that is she
Eternal consult.
she did the most dharmic thing. She did the highest principle where she only accepted Krishna as a husband. Now, now that's completely above any, that's transcendental to any dharmic. Anyway, whole
What
subject.
would girls do now if they told us how we got married? They wouldn't. They won't cope. That
Yeah.
we're coming down the road, come inside, don't look, just say yes. Finished.
You bring your cup of tea with your best sari on.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. Don't
Amazing.
even look up, just say
No.
yes.
Anyway,
This is the
All right.
answer I got.
yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
but it works.
All right. Thank you everyone for joining us. Nice reading. Again, like lots of reading here, it's so much nectar. It's difficult to comment on this very, very elevated subject. It's wonderful to hear it. And let's continue with 191 next Thursday, okay? So Hare Krishna, wish everyone the best. Wonderful Krishna conscious weekend. Different events going on, I'm sure. Okay. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.